welcome to the My Fashion Cupboard kitchen. Today I'm going to show you how to make absolutely delicious cranberry and white chocolate cookies. These are so simple and easy to make that I make them a bunch of times a year, not only at Christmas, despite the seasonality of the cranberries. And you can also switch these up by swapping the cranberries out for a milk chocolate or dark chocolate, or for some dried apricots or dried cherries are really tasty. So let's jump in and I'll show you how to do it. So to make these delightfully delicious cranberry and white chocolate cookies, you will need 150 grams of all-purpose plain flour. You will need half a teaspoon of baking powder and half a teaspoon of salt. 75 grams of rolled oats, so not the instant kind. You will need 120 grams of softened butter. I just softened mine for 20 seconds in the microwave. 75 grams of dark brown sugar and 100 grams of caster sugar. 1 egg, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, and try and get the good stuff. This one's a really high quality one, or you can use a whole vanilla pod. 75 grams of dried cranberries and 200 grams of white chocolate. I like to use a bar of white chocolate. This is a 200 gram bar, and smash it up with a rolling pin in a Ziploc bag. However, you can also buy the chocolate drops or chocolate buttons if it's easier. I quite like the rustic look of the different sized chunks of white chocolate. If you like nuts, you can also have less chocolate and more nuts, but I am a chocolate fan, so we're going with 200 grams of white chocolate. So after having preheated your oven to 180 degrees centigrade or gas Mach 4, you're going to start your recipe. I'm going to combine the flour, baking powder and salt and rolled oats into a bowl. And just give those a quick stir together with my hands so that they are fully combined. Next, in a separate bowl, you want to combine your sugars and your butter. So there's dark brown sugar going in and the caster sugar. To that I'm going to add the softened butter, 125 grams. Then I'm just going to combine these, and then we're going to whisk them until they are nice and creamy. You can use an electric whisk or a hand mixer for this, but I actually just prefer to use a good old trusty normal whisk. Just takes a little bit of muscle, a little bit of patience, and it will be done in no time. So just combining those first, using a spatula so that I can get all of the butter off the sides. I'm going to get the excess ingredients off of the spatula, and then I'm going to use this whisk to beat the sugars and the butter until they are nice and creamy and combined. The softer the butter, the faster this is going to be. Just watch out for any lumps of dark brown sugar. You don't want someone to get a huge big bite full of sugar, so make sure that you break those down and give them a really good stir. Alright, so to this nice creamy texture we are going to add our egg and our vanilla extract. So in goes 1 egg, and then goes our teaspoon of vanilla extract. Smells delicious. And I'm just going to beat that in again, same principle. Once you're happy with everything being combined, you want to mix in your flour, baking powder, salt and oat mixture. So I like to do this a little bit at a time. Just keep mixing to make sure that everything is well combined before you add the next lot. And last lot of dry ingredients, and just keep eating that in. If you find that your If you find that your dough is getting really quite dry, you can add a spot of warm water just to help bring everything together. And then I find it easier to use a spatula or my fingers when we get to this stage, just to make sure that everything is well combined. So once you have this kind of texture, everything's well combined, this is when you want to add your cranberries, your white chocolate, and if you're using nuts, you can add them now as well. So cranberries go in, and in goes my white chocolate chips or nuggets. Okay, and then you just want to combine everything really well to make sure that every cookie has some cranberries and some white chocolate. Once everything is well combined, you should be looking at something like this, evenly distributed white chocolate and cranberries. So next I'm going to take a baking sheet which I have lined with baking parchment, and you're going to by hand roll these into small balls. Depending on the size of your cookies that you want, you can get somewhere between 25 and 30 cookies from this recipe. I like my cookies slightly bigger, so I tend to get around 25. So just rolling them into balls. You can use a spoon for this to get them nice and equal. I tend just to eyeball it, but you're looking for something like a tablespoon worth of dough for each cookie. Make sure you're leaving plenty of space between them because they will start to spread. Just doing my last cookie just now. If, like me, you don't have numerous baking sheets, you should do one sheet at a time. Don't be tempted to put your cookie on a sheet that isn't lined. And what I've done is just very gently press the cookies down a little to help them spread out. So these are now going to go into the oven for around 15 minutes, and I'll show you what they're like when they come out. This is what the cookies look like when they come out of the oven. They will still be fairly soft, so handle them with care. Using a spatula, carefully lift them off of the baking sheets and move them over to a wire rack to cool completely before eating. So I think these cookies make a wonderful gift, and I'm going to give them as a gift in this gorgeous little Christmas themed tin which I picked up at my local Poundland. If you are going to use a tin like this rather than a airtight container, make sure that you wrap everything up really well with cling film. If you do let air in, they will crisp up, and if you've got cling film around them nice and tightly, they'll stay nice and soft. So that my cookies are nice and wrapped in cling film, I'm off to deliver them, but not before I finish eating this last piece of my own. Delicious. Happy holidays!